Thank you for tuning into the Pre-Patch Podcast, and check out these patch notes.
Company. This game's kind of been like taken like the platforms by storm right now, like all the streaming and TikTok and everything. I'm seeing so many clips of it. And essentially what this game is, if I can really define it in any way, it's, if you guys are familiar at all with the SCP games, or just SCPs in general, it takes a mix of like that environment, mix it with like a horror extraction game. And you pretty much get like sent down into this world, or you fly to planets. You go in with like a group. It's supposed to be 1 to 4. In the clip I'm showing here, we have modded it. The game is got full mod capability, so there's a lot of stuff you could do, but we've got a bigger lobby size, so we've got about 9 people in this. And I wouldn't necessarily compare it so much to Tarkov, because the only similarity is the like you're extracting like loot and stuff, but everything else, your PvE, you're going up against these like monsters and everything. And like I was saying, you fly down into planets, you go into these like bunkers and POIs, you look for loot, but all the while you start out like on lower tier like difficulty planets, and you'll be like chased by you know, these like different monster like variants, and each monster is like different, you know. They have all like different like ways you have to dodge them and run from them, and you can even kill some of them. So like just one for example is like one that's called a coil head. If you're familiar,
I was about to ask you about the coil head
with the Weeping Angels from Doctor Who. Just like that, you look at it and it can't move, but as the minute anybody takes its eyes off of it, it goes like super speed and it'll snap your neck in a second. So you always have to have at least like one person looking at it, you know. There's another one that works kind of like it called the Bracken, except this guy will stalk you from afar and you have to look at it and back away slowly. If you don't, or you go in its direction, it'll also run up to you, and this one will drag your body away back to its like room or something. So it's nuts, man. And there's even like so many more monsters. I don't even think I've seen them all yet. I've only played about like 10 or so hours of this game, but what really makes it is just the dynamic and the co-op dynamic of you know, going into this place. It's proximity chat, so you already know that you're going in, you're hearing your friends all screaming and running and shit, and as soon as one of their mics cuts, you know they got their neck snapped or something. Man, that's what I think the most like enjoyment comes out of it right there, is it, because I will say, like, though I have not played much of it and I don't know like the loop dynamic of it, it is kind of like a rogue like in a way, but it's more long term, because each time you go into a planet, you are tasked with a quota to fill, and you have to extract with enough loot to then fill that quota, go back to the like merchant planet or something, sell that loot, and then you go back onto the next planet. But if you leave a planet without filling that quota, you all get the run ends, you get ejected from the back and you have to restart completely. So it's got that like that loop to it that, you know, it's kind of like a roguelike.
Is there are you leveling up your character, or like
you're not leveling up, you're making money. You're making money to buy better equipment, kind of like Phasmo, you know. You're buying flashlights, walkie-talkies, you're buying stuff for your ship. You can buy like teleporters and inverse teleporters. Like the teleporter will, like, you can take somebody out of the bunker, you know. You can teleport them, like beam me up Scotty kind of type deal, except if you do that, they drop all of their current gear, so they can't actually like extract with it. Or in the inverse teleporter, you teleport them into a random area in that bunker, and they usually die pretty fast because they also can't bring anything. There's jetpacks, shovels, that's like your main weapon, or a stop sign. You saw somebody holding a stop sign, you'll see that. That's like, if you can kill the enemy, that's like your main weapon. Or I think there is a
Bro literally just ran by a fucking
electric
like mine
gun or something. Yeah, those are mines. You want to be careful of those.
Oh, look like he was careful. Looks like he just decided to fucking run
right. He's just like running right past it. I'm like,
Scruffy's like crouching, and everybody else is just like, whatever.
I think this was like, no, this might have been my second time playing. I'm still nervous as shit. They all have been playing for like a couple of days now, so I'm coming into this like fresh. But oh god, that's a thumper right there. That's one of the monsters. If it sees you, it'll chase you endlessly. But if you jump on something and somebody smacks it with a shovel, you can kill it. So there are ways to kill the monsters, but not all of them. Some of them are invincible, like the little girl.
Is there only
that'll
one
be
monster?
Enigma's favorite.
Like, is there only one monster in the run? Like in
No.
stage?
We're only seeing like one right now because it's like a tier 1 planet. But once you get to like tier 3 planets and such,
how many tiers are there?
That I actually don't know. I have not played that much to get past tier 3.
I don't know if I like that answer better or worse than an actual answer. The mystery kind of intrigues me.
Yeah, I want to say there's more than 3. Oh, right there, that's a flea. So I whack it off his head with that stop sign.
You did what to that flea? Bro.
Whacked it off his
don't
head.
Don't whack off a flea.
Dude, man. Giant
You definitely don't do it with a stop sign.
Yeah, man.
Anyway.
I forget what I was saying, but dude, the game's awesome, man. I mean, it's only $10. It was made by one developer, like a 20-year-old kid. Like, I give him props. Like, he made a solid, just enjoyable time, man. I
kind of reminds me of, has a little bit of Get Out energy.
Yeah.
Or GTFO.
GTFO, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Definitely has that energy to it. Go ahead.
I can see. I mean, it's taken the. I can say it's taken the Twitch world by storm. Like it's
a very clip-worthy game. That's why
the new Among Us.
Yeah,
it is the new Among Us, the new Phasmo, because like
new Fall Guys.
Yeah, man. These like horror co-op games, just like they blow up, man.
Well, I think what I love about it, and it's not. I mean, I'm not gonna say I'll never play it. Like I could, maybe get into it or something like that, but. It's taking the genre of Phasmo, right, and doing something different with it, which I commend it. Like that is what gaming is supposed to be about, right? It's supposed to be taking something that is good, tweaking it, and making it different and better. So
Dungeon Slime's the worst.
Dude.
I think that it's got a cool premise, and I think it's very interesting. I am interested to see how long it can have legs for. At $10, you don't expect, I don't think you expect much, but like how long can it really stick around? Like, is it, are the dungeons
foundation?
The dungeons random? Like I saw random seed.
They are procedurally generated. Yeah. Every planet has a new seed. Again, I've only played 2 dungeons right now. I don't know if there's more than 2. But it's like this bunker looking dungeon and then this like royal kind of mansion, like Renaissance kind of mansion type
That's
vibes.
Cool.
Yeah, it's cool, man. There's enough monster variants that I'm still finding new ones.
I think it has the potential to have a little bit more longevity than like Dark and Darker or anything like that.
I think so, man. I think that you have that longevity in adding more monster types, more planet dungeon types, more gear that users can play with and shit like that. Yeah,
well, that's gonna be your biggest issue is depending on what they have upgrading. Like that was my biggest problem with Phasmophobia for a while, was just like,
yeah,
okay, so I'm upgrading to buy more fucking flashlights. Cool.
Yeah. Like this game, at least there's a lot of there's more stuff it offers you to be able to buy.
Yeah, but right. I think they need that. That's the biggest thing. Like you say Dark and Darker, and I actually disagree, because Dark and Darker has you're investing in your character, you're leveling up your character, you're getting spells, you're getting abilities, there's reasons to continue to keep deep diving into the dungeons and do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Where here it's kind of like
I was talking purely from a player-based standpoint.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I think Enigma, you hit it then on the head, as well. As just like, what is the purpose to keep driving me to go down?
Once you get to a certain point,
it's cool. Like maybe, and not to say you're going to experience all the monsters, because maybe there is an infinite amount of monsters that you're going to experience, but that can only hold for so long, right? Where you've got to have a reason for me to continue to want to keep diving into this.
I still have that issue.
some
I
sort
still
of
I still have
ulterior
that issue with
motive.
Phasmophobia is like, yeah, once you've kind of ran into every ghost, you kind of understand what the fucking ghost does, and then after that it's just you know, once you get a couple of instances, you're like, oh, it's an Oni, or oh, it's a fucking this, you know. It gets to a point where, to me at least, there's not really a reason to play anymore once you kind of figure it out.
Yeah, I what I think would really benefit them is if they added something outside of the game itself, you know, like something to work towards, you know, kind of like how Tarkov has like the that workshop or whatever, you're building up your bunker or something in Tarkov,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
something to build up on the outside, because like I said, these are like just runs that if you
Well,
lose, you lose everything.
Even if
So
you were
you
to
just
build
restart.
like you took, you know, because obviously you guys have modded it, so there's 9, but like even
Yeah.
if you take like four people and say, hey, like this person, you know, I have the ability to be able to like, you know, map out the dungeon or something, like, you know,
Like assign roles and stuff.
yeah, or something like that, or like, hey, I
I
can
think
revive
that's not
somebody,
a-
right? Like I could revive, you know, whatever, a person that's down.
Yeah.
You know, adding that kind of stuff like that now adds
not
a whole
far
other
off.
element. You know,
Because they kind of do almost have. I mean, it's not the game hasn't added roles, but it's like
Yeah.
the players have decided to like make the people roles. You know, there's one guy who stays on the ship, much like Phasmo. You know, that checks the monitors and is able to use a terminal to like open and close doors inside of the bunker, or like disable mines for like a couple seconds. So like it
Yeah.
gives the people inside another like alternate ways to go, or you know, stuff like that, or
Yeah.
you can potentially save them from being chased by a monster, or lock
and-
them in with a monster.
yeah,
That's,
I mean,
you know,
and there's some discussion in chat. Like, we're not saying that like these type of games don't
Yeah.
have a longevity. They can't have a longevity because
Let
they
me-
can.
right.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's
They
let,
just
just
have
let me,
to-
let me
they
just
have to-
reiterate. Let me just reiterate. Like, that's on me, and I told Scruffy this when he was on
Yeah.
us to play this game. Was like, it's on me. Like, this just doesn't seem like the kind of game that I would enjoy playing for those very specific reasons. I'm not saying that it's a bad game.
No,
I'm not
I-
saying the
no.
Phasmophobia is a bad game. I've put a lot of hours into Phasmophobia, playing with friends and everything like that. I'm just saying, to me, at a certain point, once I've seen everything, I get to a point where I'm just like,
Right.
I've already done it all. I'm good. You know?
Yeah.
There's just
That's
no
the thing,
drive
is
to
like these
keep it going.
pop-up games, they need to keep up with them, and they
Yeah.
need to jump on it. Like,
I
Yeah.
think
and
I
not
know.
let it
I think
peter.
Phasmophobia does a really good job with that. Like, Phasmophobia is a
Especially with the
really good.
custom-
yeah,
the challenge
Yeah,
game
they-
modes and stuff, and they've
they
actually
do-
upgraded, so you have to upgrade your gear like different
Yeah,
tiers
that's
of
what I
gear.
was about to say. It was like recently with their last upgrade, they actually have like different upgrade like trees for certain certain pieces of equipment, and each upgrade tree gives you better outcomes from that piece of equipment. So I realize that it's just me. Like, to me that gets boring after a while, and I
Right.
get bored of it. I'm not saying that's for everybody. Like, I'm sure that there are people out there that have an enjoyable time and can put thousands of hours into these games. I just can't do it.
Is this VR? Can you do this? Play this in VR?
I don't think so, but you know what? If
It'd
it's
be an
not
easy
gonna
game
be,
to port to VR, honestly.
yeah, if it's not going to be ported by the dev itself, I'm sure there'll be a mod. I can already guarantee you that'll happen.
I think that would also add an element that would be really, you know,
Oh, it'd be a
Good.
great VR
for
game.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
in it. So again, kudos to the developer who developed
sure.
the game. Did you
Zeekers.
Zeekers?
Zeekers, that's just one developed and published. I think it's just from what I heard, he was like a Roblox developer.
It's pretty
So,
dope.
Well, yeah,
man,
again,
21-year-old
congrats to him,
kid.
man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's taking the gaming.
What's the name of the
world by
game again?
storm.
Lethal Company.
Yeah.
Lethal Company.
Yep, $10. Boom.
Thank you for checking out the patch notes. If you enjoyed this small selection from our podcast, come and join us every other Thursday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern for the full, unfiltered pre-patch podcast. And make sure you check out all of our past shows on anchor.fm/prepatch podcast.